What are you trying to eat real fast?
Just a Cliff Bar
Oh,
was like it's next to me, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to eat something. And I
yeah.
also ate a bag of chips, so there's that too.
Hey,
Both
Shay,
disgusting.
thanks for joining.
Hi.
Hey, Gregory.
When I went to your page just looks really good. I just wanted to tell
Oh,
you.
thank you.
I went to your page and was like, you know what? It looks really good. I like reread your bio. You don't
Uh-huh.
read my bio. So I'm like rereading your bio and everything. I'm like, oh, it's just so cute. It's perfect. I love it. So
Oh,
just
thank
wanted
you
to say
so
that.
much. Yeah, I've been
Mm-hmm.
working on it for like a year now, so
Yeah. I mean, you're doing the hard work is paying off for sure.
thanks. Gregory, I'm good. Glad you're here. Oh yeah, thanks, Kayla. I have been running some ads. That's what she's mentioning. So, trying out some new things they're running on Facebook. And so if you click on it, it's gonna message you back right away. So she was like,
I love that.
I didn't even say anything. It started messaging me. I was like, well, don't click on it. Don't click on it unless you want it.
I just full support like whenever because I see Holly's a lot, like a lot of her ads and stuff,
Oh,
especially on
right. Me
Facebook.
too.
I just I don't want anything that she's selling, but I'm still gonna support it. So I'm like, heart, I'll go to the link and then like I'll get out of it and just go back away.
Yeah. Well, used to it would charge you for every person that would like click on it. I don't know if it does that anymore. So I would always tell my friends like, do not click on it. You can comment, but don't click on it.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's good to
Yeah,
know.
I
Well,
don't
now I
know
feel
that it
like
is
I'm
anymore,
being an
but
asshole.
I can't tell this time. So, but yeah. Well, I wanted to. I don't know. Yeah, I sent you a voice message. Like, I kind of wanted to
Yeah.
talk about like relationships and maybe
Yeah.
toxic relationships and the differences. Because I know, like you said with your content, like you kind of had some experiences in that direction,
Yeah.
and that's what a lot of your content is about.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to talk about it too and kind of my experience and also just like I don't know, because there was that whole like trending conversation about my husband's not a loser, and some people got kind of
Yeah.
offended. But like I commented on one person's, I was like, well, the thing is like I'm not trying to blame anyone for being in a bad relationship. Like I stayed way too long,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also like once you do get out of it and you see it so clearly, like you so passionately just don't want anybody else to go through that?
I just want people to wake up a little bit more too, like how our parents were raised and then how they raised us and the time period of when we were raised and all this stuff. Like that made you see what a relationship is. And if you never, like in my case, I've never seen a relationship that I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, because there's a many different types of relationships out there, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
If you can make it work and you guys are respectful and nice to each other, but at the same time, there's all these other like, um, what like arranged marriages and like stuff like that. Like I don't even know, I couldn't even tip my toe in that. There's no way. But I
Yeah.
know that's not a relationship that I want. Not saying that it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't work out, not saying that it's not a beautiful thing, but it's just not what I wanted to see. And creating something that is different from whatever you've ever seen and something that you're trying to make it feel good, but then also years of being like not brainwashed, but you were raised this certain way. So you are like, no, that's wrong. Like
Yeah.
that's my like I think I've said before, like I don't think I've ever seen my parents kiss. Or
Mm.
I think I've seen them hold hands one time. Like they were business partners and they were amazing at their business, but they were an amazing couple too. Like they were awesome, but at the same time I never saw that lovingness to where I even knew it was okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when I saw PDA, I was like, that's taboo, that's
Mm.
gross, like go away. Now I'm like, that's my husband, let me go kiss him, it's not illegal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I can show
Yeah.
affection to my
Yeah.
husband, like so like even that being that's so different even from my sister and my brother-in-law.
Mm.
Very similar too. Like they love each other, they work together, all this stuff. That's their relationship. I don't know pillow talk. You know what I mean? That's their
Right.
stuff, stuff like that. Like I don't know that
Yeah.
part of the relationship at
Sure.
all. And that's really hard. But no, like it's just, Joao and I are very more, Joao's very more touchy, and that's
Mhm.
the kind of relationship that I wanted. And you have to look at what you want, what makes you happy.
Yeah.
for a relationship too. So
Yeah,
got
sure.
really deep.
No, no, I love it because I love like because like you're saying, if you don't know any different, and again, like I grew up in the South, I grew up in the Bible Belt, and it was all about like you find your person, and because I got pregnant, like I felt this pressure to get married
Yeah.
quickly, and because I didn't want to be judged, and I was like, oh yeah, we're in love, so everything's great, but like oh now you become one, and I think the biggest like toxic thing in my relationship was just like no autonomy. Like, I was to share like my every thought, my deepest, darkest secrets. Like, every time I got up to go to the bathroom, there was just like no privacy. And that was kind of, presented as normal. And so I think that's another reason why like a big part of my message is like women having their own thing, their own space,
Yeah.
like they need their own space to think and just kind of like decompress. And I think for me that's what going to the gym did for me, and that's a
Hmm.
big part of my story. um but whatever it is, it doesn't have to be the gym. Obviously I think everyone should should work on their health and
Yeah.
their fitness,
Yeah.
but yeah, like whatever it is, and it's so different now with my husband, to the point where it's like I feel there was something I like booked I bought some tickets to like a comedy show, and I was like, oh, I did something, and he was like, what? And I was like, I don't want to tell you right now, and he was like, okay, like and he didn't even like question me, and I was like, this is so different
Yeah.
than
Hmm.
like there was no secrets before. And I think that like when you feel like you're so enmeshed with someone and you can't have like your own individuality, like it hits it hits your mental like a certain way. And again, I just think fitness and being healthy is just like another way to like reclaim all that for ourselves, for
Yeah.
women.
Yeah. I definitely think having, like, as women, having something that we do, not even women, but I think everybody in
Just
general,
people, yeah.
you need to have that creative outlet, that
Mm-hmm.
financial outlet, that, you know what I mean? I think
Mm-hmm.
everybody kind of needs these things. And it's sad because I saw a post earlier and it said, and this is when Sears was a company, a corporation, and they were like, it's crazy because you had the people working at Sears for 30 years. They would go on vacation every single year, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. They live very comfortably, nicely, all this stuff. Now everybody lives paycheck to paycheck to where they're so nervous and freaking out that they can't go do anything fun. They feel like everything's going to spend money or cost money, which it does.
Mm-hmm.
So they instead sit on their couch and scroll, doom scroll for entertainment or watch TV or whatever it may be or whatever. And I'm not saying anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, as the society, the government standards that have put the pressures on us as humans to, you got to make the pills, you got to eat, you got to survive in this life that they've created for us, all this stuff. So I think that gets to people a lot too. And then not really knowing how to communicate. Because again, I mean, I put it on the older generation where, nothing was really talked about and
Mm-hmm.
everything was kind of hushed and everything was kind of taboo. Everything was taboo. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it felt weird to ask a question, half the time when I was growing up. And I've always questioned everything. Like, I will be the one with the stupid questions. Like, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, tell
Yeah.
me again. You know what I mean? Um, but no, I actually wrote stuff down whenever, because I re-listened to the audio you sent me. And that there's, like, when I'm happy, what I thought about the most was when we have these relationships in our lives that actually weigh more on our happiness than we realize.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for instance, when I was in Brazil and I hadn't talked to my family in a while, I'd be like, questions pop up, voices in your head. Oh, they must not like me. They're doing, oh, they're too
Mm-hmm.
busy for me, blah, blah, whatever. But then whenever I have that, and then I would get really down. And then whenever I would have that conversation with them, it would all of a sudden be like, oh, they don't hate me. Everything's fine, da, da, da. And and having, noticing that I was putting my happiness on these people,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a good thing. Like, I mean, it should be, it's your family,
Right.
have that happiness with them, but you need to have the happiness on your own, and
Yes.
that's hard. That was hard for me to find.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you're saying, because you can kind of get in your own head and like project, your own deal on them. And Gregory said the gym's where I
Yeah.
decompress. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm sorry, Gregory, that you've gone through that discrimination. I hope
Yeah.
that, um, because you're autistic. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that's really difficult to deal with. It sounds like you found like a community and people though that you can be there and work out with, and that's awesome. Like I'm really happy for
Yeah.
you. One thing you said about well, yeah, that was kind of more about communication, I guess, like you're saying. And I think we do that to our partners with, right? Like they have like a certain attitude and we like internalize it and we decide what
Yeah.
it means instead of like having this open communication, like, hey, like, are you irritated with me right now? Like, what's going on? For them to be like, oh no, I'm
Hmm.
just like, I'm feeling this way or whatever. I've had to definitely learn that for sure because I was in a marriage where it was just like always this tension and like, tiptoeing around. And so to even be able to ask the question, like we were talking about, our nervous system thinks it's in like fight or flight, even though like you're literally just asking a question, but when you've been in a relationship like that, you have to train yourself to like speak up and communicate. And
Yeah.
the other thing, like you said, about not letting whatever they're feeling like determine your happiness. So my husband is like a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, like,
Okay.
and it affects his mood like crazy. And yeah, so like early on in our marriage though, it was actually like the perfect practice for me because he'd get like so upset, and when he gets upset that they like lose, he just like gets quiet and just goes to bed. Like he doesn't get angry, he doesn't get mean, he just like doesn't want to talk, and he just wants to like go to bed. And I was able to be like, okay, this is about the Dallas Cowboys, this is not about me. So I was able to really separate and be like, I can still be happy and whatever because this isn't
Uh-huh.
about me. So it was really
No,
good
and it's
practice.
so, yeah, that is like literally it, like my husband, and just me on the other hand too, like with my husband, he just got home back from a bachelor trip. He was gone one day camping, whatever. He came back home and he was all like, oh, I love you so much, I miss you so much, like super energetic, like ready to go, blah blah blah. And I don't know why, but of course, women go through cycles, we go through all these other things, whatever. So in my head, I was like, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in this mode right now. I can't
Mhm.
meet you at, oh my gosh, everything's fun and energetic. Like, I can't switch it sometimes.
Yeah.
It takes me a little longer sometimes. But, so I was just like, okay, let's get this done. And like little things that I wanted to get done throughout the house. And then after it was done, I was like, okay, let's, well, now we can party. It's a good time, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes I have a little bit harder time than that, but you can tell that it affected my husband. My husband was like trying, and he's
Mhm.
touchy, and I'm not really, if I've got stuff to do, I'm doing that.
Mhm.
Period, so I'm like, da 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 da, whatever. And he's over here like, hug me, I'm a teddy bear, and yeah, it causes some disconnect, but we also have been together long enough to where he knows that it's not on him. I'm in
Mhm.
my head, I'm thinking too much about things that need to get, I just want to get it done, that's more
Right.
of my thing. I just want to get it done, move on, and then we can be all happy lovey, whatever.
Mhm.
um Sometimes I'm better with doing like fun stuff during getting things done, but it just whatever. But no, like even those, like I remember when if I was too straightforward, because sometimes whenever I'm in those moods, I'm like, okay, I need this done, this done, this done. Or if he brings me something and I'm still in that mood and he's bringing me like, man, venting, venting, but I'm
Mhm.
taking it as a serious thing and I'm giving solutions. And I'm like, well, you need to do this, or you're acting this way because of this, like I get really real. And he's like, dude, that's not what I wanted. You know what I mean? Like those kind of
Yeah.
things. But we've worked through that, but it is hard, because you can be on a different wavelength than the other person. You're not supposed to be on the same wavelength all the time with the same
Right.
person,
And
that'd
I
be
mean, I think
crazy.
that's the cool thing out about a marriage or a partnership or even a friendship, right?
Yeah.
Like we kind of allow that more so in friendship. Like you're the friend having a hard time, so the other friend's there to support you. But like with marriages, it's like it's almost this, you know, mindset for a while that it was like, oh, each person has to be working as hard as possible all the time, and it's like, no, you have sometimes you kind of have to like take turns and support
Mm-hmm.
each other, you know, in those moments. And again, it doesn't mean that like you, I mean, of course you're going to be sad if your partner's sad or whatever, but it doesn't always mean it has to like just ruin your day or whatever because they're having a
Right.
bad day. You know, there's definitely those times where it's like, okay, well, you do you and your feelings, and I'm gonna continue, you know. So I think that again, that's what's really been more healthy about this relationship for me for sure, because you know previously it was just, again, it was always this tension, this like, well, what's the mood today, and not that he was necessarily a full blown narcissist or anything, but that is very common in like narcissistic, you
Yeah.
know, relationships. And if you're a kid that also grew up in a household with like a parent that was a narcissist or an alcoholic, or just a parent that in general, you know, immature, emotional, like they really
Mm-hmm.
controlled the temperature of the household, and everybody else had to, you know, fall in line. And
Follow
so,
suit. Yeah.
yeah, and so people definitely take that, you know, into relationships. And so, again, I think we have to give ourselves the like the time to think about ourselves and who we are, what we want, and that's not necessarily selfish, but you know, it's protecting ourselves for sure. And also, you know, if you have children, like not teaching them those same patterns as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's really hard because, I mean, literally, if you parent, when you parent, you're parenting every second of the day. I mean, that's just it, because every little thing, you know, you can alter or fix or whatever, or teach, you know, all that stuff. And it just, it almost feels like there's not enough time in the day. I'm getting off a completely different subject now. I want to go back to my notes because I wrote, whenever you said, you just said, you know, you want to figure out what you need, what you want, what you like. What are those questions that you ask yourself? Like, how do you know when it's something that you like or something that you want to, I guess, like take as a habit, like moving forward in your life, you know?
like in a relationship or just in general?
I guess just in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a hard question. Like I did a lot of at the end of my other marriage, I did a lot of value work. And
Okay.
I was with a therapist that literally like had these different values on a piece of paper, and was like, is monogamy, is that a value for you?
Got it. Okay, okay,
Is, you
okay.
know, religion, is spirituality a value for you? Is, you know, telling the truth of value? And I think there was some like less intense ones as well, but really sitting down and going, okay, what's like my value, top values, and then what are kind of negotiable, that was really helpful for me.
Yeah.
Especially again, growing up in a pretty religious like area, like I think even if you don't grow up in church or whatever, it's just the general mindset of people, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like monogamy for sure. I think is a big one that like, especially for most of the United States, is like, oh, you're just supposed to be monogamous. And I think a lot of people don't take the time to really look at that and see if they do value that, you know?
Mm-hmm. True, true, yeah.
So,
And I think a lot of people get a different idea of it too, because at the same time, you have, I mean, we watch, for our trash TV, we watch like Love Island, or
uh-huh.
what's it's like exes or whatever are like invited to the same, you know, and then immediately they're jumping ship to a new girl, like immediately. Temptation Island,
Oh,
that's
okay,
the
yeah,
one that
yeah.
we were just watching. But literally they jump ship, and you can tell, you know, you can weed it out really easily or whatever, but if you don't know, and you might possibly be even in that situation, it
Mhm.
might be a good idea to watch those things, because as I'm watching, I'm like, that is my ex right there. He would have jumped ship, you know what I mean? Like he would have
Yeah.
just, see you later, you know, stuff like that. And then they try to backtrack, and you're like, dude, you're on national TV. Like, what are you gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
everybody sees this. Like, when
Yeah.
you're messy, you know? And it's crazy, but they don't care. Or they, ego is so high that they think that they can just get away with it, type thing, or whatever, you know, whatever it is. And it's, I think it's a cultural thing. Like, I mean, I just remember everybody that I dated all throughout high school, into college, you know, whatever, everybody was just, I was like, oh, you're my person.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then let's hang out every single day. Like,
Yeah.
we're, that's it. I meet you and we
Uh-huh.
vibe, best friends.
Done
Like,
deal.
you don't
Yeah.
get to leave. You know, that's how I am. So when you have this culture around you of people dating and people sleeping with whomever and blah, 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 whatever, and not taking it seriously, well, I didn't think I had to communicate the fact that I only want to be just with, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that's a huge thing too, is there's lack of communication, I think. But at the same time, as I'm growing older, like, maybe I've definitely, not maybe, definitely should have seen the signs, you know,
Right.
there, and just stopped it, and, you know, had a boundary, you know, in place, and be like, I'm never gonna let that happen again. But
Mm-hmm.
then my, like, whimsical little hopeless romantic is like, treat every relationship differently, you know? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
No, I mean
stupid.
for sure. And again, I think because culturally, like we're supposed to be monogamous, but people don't like it's so common for people to not actually, live up to those standards because they don't know how to communicate that they can't handle
Yeah.
it or whatever, or what it means. Like some people are like, oh, you're not allowed to buy a drink at the bar, or that's cheating, or you're not allowed to look at porn and that's
Yeah.
cheating. And
True.
some people don't have those conversations, but like you're
Hmm.
saying, there can also be like those little signs along the way. And, just like flirting with another person and then lying about it. And you're like, oh, but they would never actually cheat. Well, guess what it normally ends up leading to? It's just the
Yeah.
person knows that it's not like culturally acceptable and you're not going to stay with them, instead of finding someone that like thinks a little more like them or whatever. So, like you're saying, I think, yeah, communication and just knowing your values is super important because it'll lead to resentment, in a relationship if that isn't discussed early on and at least come to a like agree to disagree on certain topics
Hmm.
that might not necessarily, impact your relationship directly. So, but I think, too, like one of the big signs is always accusing the other person of cheating. And so that was again a big deal in my previous relationship and also like created so much stress around just me going to the gym. Well, who's there? Well, who are
Hmm.
you talking to? All right. Bye, Gregory. Thanks for showing up. Um,
Thank you.
but and so it that made the gym, and I've even heard of couples where like they don't let their partner, go to the gym because, oh, you're working out in front of other people. and
Hmm.
and for
Who you
me,
trying to prove? Who you trying
yeah.
to impress or whatever? And you're like, my damn self. Go
Yeah,
fuck
and
yourself.
to me,
You
that's
know?
just, yeah, that's a huge red flag. That's control.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like the finances before too, because I talk to so many women again when we go to talk about becoming a client, well, I have to talk to my husband, and it's not
Yeah.
even like, well, do you know like what they're gonna say? Well, I have no idea. I don't even know what's in the bank account. And to me, that is like scary. Like, sure, you may have something
No
worked out
fucking
where they,
way.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you may have something worked out
Hmm.
where they have,
Yeah.
they control most of the things just because they're, better at it or whatever. But like, you should. I mean, I know there's couples now like they make sure the wife has like their own separate like account that if anything happened, they could get away just to make sure they feel comfortable and safe in a
Safe.
relationship
Yeah.
because
Secure.
financial abuse is very prevalent. It goes back to women not even being able to open their own bank account, like
Yeah.
in our parents' lifetime. Like it's
Right.
just without a man to
it's
sign. Like
it's just there. Like, that's the thing,
what?
it's right there. It's not like this is 1,000 years ago and we're bringing up the past like that. No, it's literally my mom and dad, you know.
Yeah,
Not my mom and dad, but you know what I mean. it's
right.
it's people's mom and dads, and like, it it's so empowering. I remember you know, you're in these relationships or whatever. And oh, thank you, Gregory, by the way, for following me. I appreciate that. But no, like whenever you are in a relationship and you are clearly there's red flags or you're feeling bad about it, whatever. And then all of a sudden it comes to light that, you know, it's not working out, blah, blah, blah. That comeback, that, oh, I'm gonna, like, not even like an, oh, I'm gonna show you, not that, but more of just like you feel free a
Or
little
I'm gonna
bit. And then
invest in myself.
yeah, like you're like, oh, okay. Or like my husband, my husband has like pissed me off a couple times where he's just like, he'll make a he used to make a comment or whatever, and I'd be like, I'll fucking show you, dude. Like, and that's what would kick me up, you know?
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, no, I'm taking back my life and I'm doing it this way. And
Yeah.
anytime that I did that, my husband never has ever been like, oh, I hate this. Like, nothing. He's proud of me. Like, he's like,
Right.
yeah, do it. Go, man. Like, he
Yes.
wants to see it, you know? So, like, that even is such a different like I used to be so scared, and we've talked about it too, like my husband has never shown me a sign of being I should never be scared to ask to go to the gym or something like that. He's never shown me signs of that, but it's still in there, that like PTSD or whatever you want to call it. Like I still be like, oh, I can't take time for myself. There's no way. Why would I do that? That is, other people are way more important than me. I need to be small and sit back here and not say a word. Like that's how I get sometimes. And he'll be like, dude, come on. Like, and those are the little things that he would like push me, but in a way that I didn't want to be pushed.
Yeah.
Cause I, you know, being mad at, or like, I guess throwing myself a little pity party,
Yeah.
you know, that's not like, nah, you know,
Or
and
coming
he's
up
like,
with your own resentment
dude,
in your head for like no reason that they're not even really
literally.
causing.
And he'll
Yeah.
call me out on it. He'll call me out on it. And then I'll be get mad. And I'll be like, oh, yeah. And then I'll just go, I don't know, whatever, open a business. That's usually
Yeah.
what happens. It's like, oh, you made me mad? Gonna go open a business. See you later. You know,
No,
like
that's pretty
those
much.
reels.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
No,
it.
that's pretty much
That's
what's
it.
driving me right now too, because my husband is so independent and I mean, I have always been very like male centered, like as much as I'm like F the patriarchy and blah blah blah, like it's my default setting to like want male
Mm-hmm.
attention and like want to make him happy and want to, and so he's cool just chilling on the couch every night. He doesn't even care if I'm in there really. I mean, yes, he wants to spend time with me sometimes, but he's like,
Yeah.
and so like
Yeah,
I
I feel like
really
that's how men are in general.
yeah.
They want to know that you're around, but they don't necessarily want you next to them all the
No.
time or whatever. But like that's not a bad thing, you know? Like
But that's so
whatever.
different from my previous relationship because I
Yeah,
couldn't even like read a book while he was watching a TV show because then we weren't watching the TV show together, even if I was
that's
sitting
weird.
like right next to him. Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah,
it's
I'm
so
like that's
fucking
weird.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
and like I mean, I was so in it, I didn't even realize how
of
weird and
course.
controlling it was,
Hmm.
like, because
Well,
of
because
course it's, go
whenever
ahead.
you're in it, and you no, sorry, but like I could see it too. You're sitting there. He wants to watch a show. He wants to watch it with you. I could also see, oh, yeah, I understand how that's together time, us watching a show together rather than me reading a book. And I can see that. That's why it's so hard whenever you're actually in those relationships.
Hmm.
That's why you really have to like let everything out
Hmm.
in order to like really realize stuff. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, and yeah, off on that subject too. I mean, that's why emotional abuse is so hard to prove because when you say things like that, a normal person would be like, "Oh, that's so sweet. He wanted to spend time
Right.
with you," and you're like, "Yeah, but
Right.
it's this and this and this and this and this, and it
You're
adds up
like,
to a whole lot of
oh.
crazy." Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and again, too, my husband, like every time I would get up, I'd be like, "I'm gonna go to the bathroom." He's like, "Okay, okay." Like, why do you have to announce every time you go to the bathroom? I'll be
It's
here.
because we would get smacked if we left our desks at school.
Well,
You know what I
that
mean?
too. That's
You know
true.
what I mean? Like if we had to ask in school, like you had to ask literally everywhere, even all throughout me going through college.
Hmm.
I need to go pee. Like I'm they would always empower you and be like, "Oh, you're an adult. You can leave class whenever." "Oh, okay. Tell that to the angry professor at the top of the
Right?
room." That's like, no. And then the most funny would be like whenever I would go in those classes and they'd be like, "We're not using any laptops." And you're just like, why then? Like, why, what is going on? Like, if we have to do our assignments online and all this other stuff online, blah blah blah, but we cannot have our laptops in the classroom, like, all the
But then
slides are
again,
online,
that's just one
everything,
of
like.
those like control moments where people just want to like
Mm-hmm.
assert their dominance and their
Yeah.
control for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just, it has trickled down and people are still getting away with it. And again, like you're saying, we're kind of groomed that way growing up. Like we were definitely
Yeah.
groomed to be like seen, not heard. Children now have a lot more input in their homes. And, the
Mm-hmm.
older generations are like, they just talk back all the time, this, gentle parenting, blah, blah, blah. But it's like we're actually allowing our children to discover their own needs and wants, because guess what? We became adults and we had no fucking clue what our beliefs and wants are, you know?
Yes. Because
And
nobody talked to us about them. Because, I mean, everybody's trying to figure it out for themselves, too. Like, don't get me
yes,
wrong, I get it. Everybody's doing their own thing and trying to figure out their own traumas, their own responses, everything, like, and then that getting trickled onto you, and it just gets. But I see it a lot with my family, a lot. But
yeah. And
it's
of
cool
course,
because.
like your children need guidance and, people
Mhm,
need advice and support.
yeah. No, my mom actually just made a comment not too long ago. She goes, my oldest niece is 9, and she goes, man, she just talks a lot, and my mom knows, like, you can't, like, say that anymore. Like, she knows it's a joke, like, now that we
Right,
all,
right,
like,
right.
it's a bad thing, she knows that. But she's like, man, she has a lot of opinions, blah blah blah. I go, so did we just shut our mouths, you know what I mean? Like, we just didn't talk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was different. And my parents never once were like, shut up, I don't want to hear you. Like, they've never once been like that. We just were always in the we were always in the business. We were always like, our school bus dropped us off at the office. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, we were just there. So we knew, just out of respect, to be quiet. Like, I don't have anything on me that's like, oh, my parents were so mean, they didn't let me speak. Like, they let me talk. It was just not the time or place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those kind of things. So it's funny because when we would go to restaurants, we would think that that's the same, not the place or
Yeah.
time to talk,
Yeah.
and then my nieces, they're in my son, they're all running around the
Right.
whole restaurant. You're like, okay, cool, sorry. And then, they're asking questions, they're ordering their own food, like, blah blah blah, whatever. And we don't care. It's cool, it's empowering, like, all this stuff. But it is different. And even for
Yeah.
my mom to see it, she's like, what? And then even how we do bedtime with William, like, she's like, what? It's just different. Like, we do it differently. Felt we found a way that felt good to us.
Hmm.
And that's it. That's all that matters to anyone, honestly. But
Yeah.
it's hard to find that too.
Yeah. And I think too, there's like, parents are still finding that balance as well. Like, obviously, we can take it too far in the other direction and not like
Yup.
follow through with discipline and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even though I probably disciplined a little bit harder, that now, with these younger kids, you guys are like, it was still always that, wrestling in my mind of like, well, how much dominance do I assert? How much do I allow them
Mm-hmm.
to express? How much, I think as a parent, like, you're always gonna like question that. You're also gonna like be too tired to enforce rules sometimes too.
Yeah.
Like, just be
All
like,
day
whatever,
today.
I don't care.
Literally, whatever. Do whatever you want, dude.
Yeah.
There was two pots and pans out on my floor. Like, whatever, man. Like, just, well, and it was raining all day, and Chunk has like his no, it just has sinuses, but he threw up. But it was just mucus that he threw up. But he threw up early this morning, and then so I kept him home, and he's just been sneezing and just sinuses basically. But it's been raining all day, so I just opened the garage door and I go, have at it, dude. Like, go on your bikes, punch the punching bag. Like, I don't care. Go be crazy, because they need it. These
Yeah.
kids need to get it out. But yeah,
I
it just
remember too though,
it's
like when we were young
funny.
though, it was like if you're sick and home from school, you cannot like leave the bed. Like, you're not allowed to
Yeah,
do anything.
you're not sick enough, clearly. And I'm like, God, that sucks, because I was a kid that had sinuses really badly, and my parents didn't understand it at all. They do now. They both have it really bad now. But when I was a kid, for some reason, I don't know, but my mom swears that she never had sinuses until after she hit like 40 or
Mm,
whatever. And then I'm a kid going through it, and I'm like, my head hurts so bad I can't even open my eyes,
mm,
like, and they're like, what is wrong with you? What do you mean? You don't have a headache, you don't have a fever, and like blah blah, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
how is it? I can't tell them. I can just be like, I don't feel good. I don't
Yeah.
know what to tell you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard. So when I see the signs with my son, I'm like, I'm gonna keep you home, dude. Like, cause I mean, he was perfectly fine, but and I could have taken him to daycare. He would have been
But he's
perfectly fine.
also
But
perfectly
like,
fine not going to school.
exactly. Like, I mean, it's fine either way. But no,
Yeah.
even me, like, if I know that I can do work from home and I can chill in a dark place rather than going to a office and lights and all this stuff or whatever, then I'm gonna choose to do that rather than piss myself off because there's bright lights shining at me.
Yeah.
It's
I
annoying
and see,
sometimes.
I had a one of my very first like real jobs at a bank, my manager, she was the same way. Like, you did not miss work unless like you were like could not get your head
Throwing
out
up
of
on the
bed.
phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then even then she'd be like one time, I mean, I never called in because I was very really sick, and I had to call in. She was like, "Well, so and so is not here today." Eh, what what does that have
Okay.
to do with me? Like,
Right.
and then
All
too,
right.
like, we only had sick days, we did not have personal days. And if they found out we used a sick day as a personal day, you would literally get called into human resources and like get written up for it. Like, just wild. And I was thinking about
Insane.
this earlier, talking about like, bringing more things to light, communicating more things. Like, I think, the far right likes to call that like being woke. And yes, that can also be taken too far, but it's literally like people being like, but we just want to be able to express how we're feeling and what we're dealing with, and the other side so used to, well, we just don't want to hear that, this is just the way things have been. And
Right.
again, it can be taken too far, but I think that's initially how that started, is just people being like, we just want to spread awareness, we just want people to know this is going
Mm-hmm.
on, whether that's like LGBTQ or like just mental health and taking a personal day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's
Taking a
just
freaking personal, like, it's crazy to me how many women have created their own businesses because they realize that I can't not, I can't do a 9 to 5 and miss work. Like, what's going to happen when I have kids?
only
Who's going to
takes
watch
6 weeks off in the
that's
US.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
maternity leave for one, that's a whole other
Mhm.
subject. That's just insane. Cuz I had 6 months with my son and I wish everyone could get that or more.
Mhm.
For real. I didn't really understand it because like I wasn't in a corporate job. I was already working online, so it wasn't like a huge life altering change or whatever for me, but like now that I see it and now how I see how that bond is such a good thing, like why would you want to take that away from them? Like that's what bothers me so much about just regulations in general, and not being spoken about. So I'm glad that they are being talked about too. But then at the same time, like just like I said, we're creating our own businesses because 9 times out of 10, if you were at a 9 to 5, I mean, retail, I worked a lot of retail places. You're folding stuff, you're putting away stuff, like it's busy work, okay? It's
Mhm.
not like you're solving world's problems at
Yeah.
retail, okay? But like whenever you're in your own company or something else or whatever, you have days where you're like, I could go get my hair cut right now. I have this time slot. Cool. Like I can still prioritize myself as well as prioritizing my business because it's mine now rather than punching in the clock for somebody else. And
Yeah.
it sucks. I wish more people knew how creating an LLC or creating your own company is actually super beneficial for you. Like
Yeah.
in a lot of different areas. I mean, even financially, I just feel like if I can go to a 9 to 5 or whatever and I can pay for my house, okay, it takes taxes out, whatever, cool. If I own my own company and I put my house as a what am I trying to say?
Like a write off.
Debit. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a write off for that company. then you're paying, like, it's paying
Yeah.
for itself. And I just honestly, I wish there was more education around that too, because I think everybody should have an LLC
Well,
to protect them.
yeah, and you saying that too, like it's so funny because when I became a trainer, like I've always felt like my parents have struggled with that. Like, my dad worked for the same company like my whole life, benefits, worked
Mm-hmm.
his way up. And yes, he's very successful. He has awesome retirement.
Yeah.
So, when I left the bank, he was like really nervous about it. And I felt like, especially the first few years, it's like I wasn't taken seriously of having like a real job just because it
Yeah.
wasn't a job with benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the free, even though, yeah, I'm not rich, right? Like the freedom is so valuable because I
Yeah.
don't I don't know how these parents do it and take their kids to the doctor's appointment and get their hair cut. Like when do you have time to do these things?
You
It's
don't. Like,
yeah.
my dad's fiance, she is an esthetician, and she schedules her Tuesdays or Thursdays to be to go out for lunches with her clients,
Mm,
bring her mom dinner or breakfast or whatever, get her eyelashes done, her, her hair, nails, like whatever it is, those are her days that she takes to pamper herself. And I mean, she's awesome. She works hard. She works from sun up to sundown, way past sundown, all this stuff on the days that she does work, but she still gives that love back to herself. And I think
mhm.
that's what we miss a lot of the time, because if I'm doing a 9 to 5 and I have to be there from 9 to 5, that's insane already, because there's only so much time in a day, and there's no wiggle room, because as soon as, like, okay, school drop off is at what, 8? Okay,
Mhm.
you have to immediately go to work, start working. You have a lunch break that's usually 30 minutes to an hour that sucks anyway, and
Mhm.
then it's 5 o'clock. Your kids are already home with someone because school gets out before that, so like, how do
Right.
you account for that? And
Right.
then you got to make dinner, and then make sure everybody's got dinner, and then maybe bath if you got
Mhm.
time, and then bedtime. Like, there's no time you actually get to spend with your children, and that sucks, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's not, I don't feel like I understand if you're in that 9 to 5 and you don't have a way out or whatever, but like, hell, I did it. I had a 9 to 5, and I was like, you know what, I can do this differently, and
Yeah.
I'm thankful that it's my father. It's different, and I get it. But like, it even, like, I even have the anxiety whenever I stay home, like, all day today. I had the anxiety. There was nothing going on at work, not one freaking thing. Even if I was sitting at the office, I would sit at the office and do nothing, like, literally I wouldn't have one thing to do. So I'm like, why am I still having anxiety about being home and not being at the office? You know what I
I
mean?
think
And
it's
that's
just our culture. Yeah. And
exactly,
that's
and I'm
and
trying to break it.
yeah, I mean, you have to. You can't keep that on yourself because that was the thing I hated about being in the office. There was so much wasted time. People sitting around chatting with each other. It's like, oh, but it's office morale. But yeah, but if I can get my job done within these hours and leave, why am I not allowed to do that?
Right.
I think that's such a downfall of the way that it's set up and how like this grind culture of like you be the first one there, you be the last one to leave, or else you don't really care
Mm-hmm.
about your job. Why should I? I'm gonna get the paid the same amount either way. And I think you're right. I think for some reason we've been scared to, we've been given this fear of taking the leap out on our own and creating our own businesses just because it's not a 9 to 5, just because it doesn't have benefits. People are going to be like, oh, you're crazy, you're giving up that stability. But like you're saying, I can go get my hair done, nails done during the week. Do I end up working, like tonight? This is work for me, right? Being
Yeah.
on here till 9 o'clock at night. Like I know some people wouldn't want to do that, but it gives me a lot more flexibility, during
Yeah.
normal times.
And
So
I'd rather, you know what I mean? It's just more of, man, it just really is, because I mean, and I'm definitely like, F it all, go do whatever your wildest dream is, for sure. Like, that's me. So
mhm.
whenever I moved to Brazil, before I moved, I was so freaking scared, because I'm like, what am I gonna do for work? what are my parents going to think of me, that I'm just a bum sitting on my butt, beach bum, basically,
Yeah.
just a bum, doing nothing, blah, blah, blah. And then when I came back home from Brazil and I announced to the family that I was actually going to move there, my sister, like, she was like, okay. Like, she's like, I already knew this. She goes, the moment I knew that you came back from Brazil, she goes, I knew you were going to move there. Like, hands down, knew you were going to move there. And, like, it's just so crazy. And once she said that, once I felt seen in a
Hmm.
way that I didn't, my sister sees me so much. It's crazy. I love it. Um, but
Same, my
no,
sister's the same way.
you know what I mean? Like the fact that she called it out, I was like, oh. And the fact that it wasn't brought next with, how dare you? No way. Like, you're crazy. Like, any of this stuff or whatever gave me so much more motivation to do something for myself. And I mean, I started teaching English, which slowly went into like life coaching and teaching English at the same time type thing or whatever. And then it went into all these other things. Like, if I wouldn't have done that at all, I would have still been sitting here, been like, I wonder what it would be like to do that. And I'm so just for change your life. If you have a question about something that's going on with your life, like, go find answers. Like,
Yeah.
sitting there and just everything staying the same, it's not going to make you happy, which is in return not going to make your life happy. You know what I mean? Like, it just all trickles around it.
Yeah, for sure. It was crazy too because my ex-husband, he was like supportive of me, getting my certification as a trainer and like leaving my job because I had gotten my bachelor degree. I was in human resources. I had worked my way up, was getting, like I said, good pay, benefits paid for, all the things. And then I was like, personal training is what makes me really happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, so with personal training, or like if you're a certified personal trainer through one of the, like I'm through National Academy of Sports Medicine, you, to keep your certification every 2 years you have to like recertify and get your continuing education credits. And so like I got a yoga certification, so at my gym I was like, hey, I'm
Okay.
gonna do like a 30-minute class during the day in between like clients. And I feel like there was something else that I got certified. And like when I was like filing for divorce, my ex-husband was like, "And you just change jobs all the time. Cause this is why you want a divorce, because you can't stick with anything ever. And you had to be a trainer, and then you had to get your yoga certification." I'm like, first of all, that's the same.
It's the
Like,
same thing.
I'm still
Yeah.
doing the same thing. And second of all, like I worked in banking and then got my degree. Like as a 20-year-old, I worked in banking for 6.5 years. 4.5 years, I think 4.5 years there. So for like a 20-year-old, that's a good stint
That's a
at a job.
chunk. Yeah.
Then I
Yeah.
like finished my degree, went in HR for 6.5 years, and while I was doing that, made the transition. When like I was just like like I wasn't like quitting jobs and restarting jobs all the time. Like, and we
Mm-hmm.
were
Right.
married for 16 years. Like, I gave it a good go. I wasn't just
That's
like,
really good go. That's a really good go. It's not like you were like, 16 months, I think we're done. This is it. You know what I mean? God,
yeah.
16 years of just the same thing. It just, yeah.
So
Yeah.
just wild to me that that was trying to like be pushed on me,
Hmm.
again, that control. And
Yeah.
I think people in that are like that, like they'll try anything. They'll try to like prove their point with anything. So
Well, I think that's anybody kind of negative anywhere in our lives. It doesn't matter if we've ever met that person or not. They could be a coworker. They could be the
mm,
dude that you just bumped into at the gas station. If they're not happy with themselves, with their lives, like it's pretty viral, real going on now. It's like people that are happy with themselves are happy outward. Like, they're not
yeah.
about to judge you for taking care of yourself, because they understand that in order to be happy, you need to take care of yourself. Like, I would never judge anyone for going anywhere to better themselves. Why would I? And
Mm-hmm.
I think that gets lost, because you're like, oh, they're talking about my family member, blah blah. No, it's the Joe Blow making a dig at your shirt at the gas station, you've never seen, but they're miserable and having, a bad day or whatever, and see you thriving. And they just want to nick at something about you or whatever to make themselves feel good. And I think as going out into a world full of unhealed people, maybe, I think it's a little hard, and I think we can get down on ourselves a lot too. I mean, I stay alone for a while, for like alone as in like I go home, I'm with my family, and well, my office is just me. So like it's me. I'm by myself all the time, you know what I mean? Like I like it that way. I don't have a lot of interactions with people, so I don't have to depict if their emotions are trying to upset me or if they're just trying to be a friend. Like I don't know, and I guess I don't have the patience to see if you're gonna end up being an like a mean person to me. You know what I mean? Like what do you want? Talk to me. Let's go. Let's do this. Blah blah blah. And then all good. You live your life. I live mine. Woo!
Just knocked over my water. It's okay.
It's everywhere.
Sorry.
Everything's everywhere. No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, no. No, okay, but a question that you would ask yourself, if something didn't feel good.
Yeah. Like, what would I do?
Like, well, I mean, like what, I guess that's hard to just, because it's so general.
General, yeah. Like, what's an example?
I guess like whenever you feel like, okay, how about this? Whenever you do feel bad, what does that feeling feel like for you? Like when something makes you feel, not feel bad, but like you can tell it was like a hit on you, or that's somebody else's emotions trying to get to
Hmm.
you.
I
What do you
mean,
do?
my initial reaction, I think just because it's programmed into me, is always like, what did I do? And, or, did I do something? And I think now I really try to look at things more objectively and be like, okay, is this true? Did I do everything in my power? For example, I had a client, an online client, but she also goes to my gym. She told me she needed to quit for financial reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out that her husband told the gym owner that she just wasn't comfortable with the workouts I was having her do.
Okay.
And I was like, well, she never discussed that with me. And I
Yeah.
gave her the opportunity to do a different plan where it would be more customized to her. I also offered to meet her up here at least once a week and walk her through, um, the workouts and things. And so after I went through all the reasons, like, of where I did do my job, I was like, you know what? Because he was like, well, why don't, you may need to talk to her and find out what's going on. And I was like, I did. Like, I did,
Mm-hmm.
and I think too, like, obviously talking out with someone helps, but I think you have to do the same thing just like in your head. Like, walk yourself through the steps. Like, is there something that I need to go back and clarify with that person? Or did I do everything that I should have done? And then I think if
Yes.
you do that, then you can kind of rest in that. It may still not feel good
Yes.
that someone's like
Mm-hmm.
mad at you or annoyed at you, but at the end of the day, it's like, if you can kind of think through it, you can be like, well, that's them and whatever unhealed part they have about
Yes.
them that they couldn't communicate that with me. And that at the end of the day, that's not my responsibility. So it can be hard, but it's definitely a practice you kind of have to put in place, I think.
I definitely like the fact that you said like reassuring it with yourself, because like I think that's what we forget to do a lot of the time is trust ourselves, trust our gut, trust that we are doing everything, like trust that we are good, positive, naturally happy people
Mhm.
that want better for other people, but that's not on us. We can't help people that don't want to help themselves just yet. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Mhm.
got to be up to them. And the fact that, I reached out, I gave options, I, did this, did that, whatever. At the end of the day, it's on them. Like that, you know what I mean? As long as you do that, and that puts so much self-respect back on yourself too,
Mhm.
of just being like, I did what I needed to
Yeah.
do to be a nice person, just to be a well-rounded, I did everything I could for you. That's
Mhm.
it. And then you've gotta move on.
Say like, okay, if this comes up again, how could I
Yeah.
maybe prevent this in the future? What else could I do in the future? Just so you kind of have that in your back pocket. Because I've had clients before that I just could not motivate to do anything. They
Yeah.
handed me money and they did nothing. It was like, and so I've had to be like, did I reach out to them enough? Did I give them enough choices and
Yeah.
opportunities? At the end of the day, it still is on them. But
Hmm.
like, what additional steps can I do just to make sure that I feel good about my part.
Yeah,
So
like what you're learning from it too. Like literally what you just described would have been me. I would have given you money and I've been like, Casey, I can't. I'm not doing any of it. You know what I mean? Like, and like, I love you, but peace. You know what I mean? Like that would just be how I would be because I know myself that I have to do it on my own terms. And right
mhm.
now I don't really want to do it. And that's just it. And like as people we need to get really real with what we actually like. It's good to picture things. It's good to be like, yeah, I'm going to be back in a size 4 or whatever it is, whatever your goal is, whatever it is. You have to be ready for that. I
Mhm.
don't care enough to be ready for that to do it right now. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like that's kind of just where I'm at. And you being real with where you are gives you so much more empowerment too, to be like, okay, I see myself. We all have flaws.
Mhm.
What little part of me do I want to work on right now? And
Mhm.
let's start there. Let's start small and then we can build off of that. Nothing happens in a moment, it takes
Yeah.
time. So,
And there's
yeah.
and as a coach too, like I have to learn like where can I say, okay, well let's start with little steps and see where this goes, or where do I
Or
call the
push.
person out and say like, well, yeah, push, but also where do I say like, well, what have you tried before? Why didn't it work? Was it the coach's fault or was it your fault? And if it was
Mhm.
your fault, then what makes you think you're going to do any better with me? And we
Mhm.
can really discuss whether or not like they have finally had that mental click,
Yep.
or if maybe it's still not the right time. Because I've had people say, oh well, they just hand you money and don't do anything. That's the easiest client ever. And I'm like, but it doesn't feel good. I don't like it. I don't
No.
want someone just
Yeah.
to pay me and do nothing.
Yeah. Like
So
you are putting in your full effort. You want people to pay you who are going to give full effort too. I mean,
yeah,
it's very difficult.
and it's
But
the
yeah.
joy of my job. It's why I like doing
Right. That's
it.
why you created your own company, your own business,
Yeah.
to give this to other people because you've seen such a positive impact from it yourself.
Hmm.
And all you're doing is just trying to give it back to other people. But again, it's if that person, people just have to get really real with themselves and where they are in
And I'll say
life.
too,
And
on the selfish side, it's like, well, the fact that I wasn't able to be the one to make the change does that look bad on me? Does that reflect outwardly? If someone knows they hired me as a coach and they still didn't get results, well, then they're not going to hire me. And then I also don't have the transformation stories or pictures to share. And so I've
hmm
spent all this time doing that. So, I mean, in that regard, there is a little bit of selfishness, but,
yeah,
overall, like I said, it's what I love to do. So I want people to
it's a
have
part of the
those.
job. It's a part of the